Chapter 1. A Name for Light. Something was wrong. Or very, very right. Gaichu hissed and cringed back as some sight burned his eyes. He couldn't even look at this strange, unknown anomaly. What was that? It hurt his eyes like a beating from Master, but it flooded his body with warmth as the beams of gold hit him. He was in a war against pain and pleasure, reaching out towards the strange sight. He didn't know a word for it, but all he knew was that this thick, wispy circle of heavenly goodness was making it easier to see in his home. His desperate hand was bathed in a pretty golden hue and cast darkness behind where the contours of his palm and fingers blocked the beams. It was glorious. It was terrifying, but it was altogether better than his angry master roaring behind him, wanting to give him the punishment of a lifetime for accidentally biting him. If Master caught him now, then it would be hell. So, he reached out towards the golden warmth with his arms stretched as far as it would go. He wanted it to save him, to take him away from Master, to take him away from this life. Perhaps he was finally free. Suddenly, something large and blood-colored burst through the swirling vortex, sending little shimmers of gold twinkling into the darkness. Gaichu had no time to process that it was an arm before it had locked onto his weak hand and began dragging him into the warmth. Gaichu heard Master roar from behind him and turned to see him furiously trying to grab him with the razor-sharp claws of his mech suit. The slider braced for pain, but abruptly, some violet drill shot through and hit Master square in the forehead, grinding painfully for a few moments before the monster snatched it off. But by then, Gaichu was already almost through, and for a heavenly second, he felt a pleasurable tingling as his body dove past all the pretty little shimmers. He let out a small purr of enjoyment before it felt like some weight had been dropped across his entire body. He hissed as he crashed down onto some hard surface, and the swirling golden vortex faded from view, cutting off Master from sight. Gaichu could only lay on the ground in agony as he felt himself being pulled down by some force he couldn't understand. His eyes darted over greedily to the spot where his little circle of heaven had vanished, Brain immediately feeling possessive over that new and glorious sensation of tingly warmth. Then, his gaze ripped away from the painfully vacant space and to the creatures who had supposedly brought him out. They all stared at him for a few moments, and Gaichu waited to see if they were friends or enemies. Leo? Asked the big spiky one in a scarlet bandana, and Gaichu's eyes narrowed into slits. That was not his name. Danger. With a snarl, he scrambled up and blindly dove at the creature, who yelped in surprise as Gaichu's snapping teeth neared him. The slider's gaze zeroed in on the neck and went for it, with all his might, teeth bared. The snapper turtle easily snatched the fumbling slider out of the air, and Gaichu inwardly cursed himself for being unable to fight with this new weight on his entire being. He squirmed desperately, but the other turtles were trying to make soothing sounds. "Easy, Leo! It's okay! It's us!" said the tiny one in orange. And Gaichu turned to snarl, but then realized that was the color that from the vortex. Rage temporarily forgotten, his gaze softened in fascination at the beautiful hue. His eyes sharpened as he tried to scrabble out of the snapper's grip and over to the orange one. Desperate memories of fondness filling his senses as the color calmed him. It was a color of hope, of relief, of warmth. He needed it for himself. He needed to be near that glorious taste of beauty that was so foreign to him. Even the little turtle looked so precious, so caring, so innocent, so sweet. Gaichu felt a powerful urge to protect the little being, who was clothed in the colors of treasure, to not let Master find him, to keep him safe, to never let anyone hurt him, and to relish in his wonderful presence that he so desperately craved, and to ensure his comfort, and to... Suddenly, he felt a painful piercing in the neck and yowled, turning in indignance as the soft shell in purple who was staring at him in horror and devastation. But that was the last clear image he was able to see as his vision grew blurry and the world faded to black.